People can do things, terrible things, but it may not be because they're horrible on the inside, it just might be because they're voiceless. Never really think that something as simple as an assortment of plants or powder could ruin your life, or even get you killed.
Get him, on the ground! On the ground, now!
I'll give you half what these 2 items are worth, $10 million US, if you just get me out of here now.
First, you're gonna tell me what happened in that briefcase of yours.
I think he lost it to a bunch of kids.
Kids? How do you lose it to a bunch of kids?
Oh, this should be interesting.
Then I guess these people that I ran into won't be missed if their lives were to come to a sudden, unnatural end!
Help! Anyone!
It's a setup!
Okay, I'm hooked. That is a trailer, or at least a recut by me trailer for radio purposes of a film called Red Battle, done by local filmmaker, recent high school graduate Matt Zaleski. Matt, good morning. Welcome to Less in the Morning.
Hi, it's great to be here, sir.
I hope you don't mind. I took a few liberties and recut your trailer so we can make it fit for radio.
I'm impressed.
Thank you, thank you. Well, you know, obviously it's hard to do justice to, I mean, this is an action film that you made, but you get the general idea of what's going on, but if you can kind of tell us, first of all, what the storyline of Red Battle is all about.
All right, to paint a basic picture, there's a drug lord that steals a briefcase full of $14 million worth of illegal experimental hallucinogenic drugs from Colombia, and he flies to North America to avoid being tracked down by this Russian cartel based in Colombia, and the Russians are on constant pursuit of these guys, and he's trying to disappear, but he just can't. And my character actually gets some pictures of exposing these drug lords' identities, and that's why I get kidnapped, and they're just trying to get an honest answer from me. And the secret of the camera's location is the only thing that keeps my character alive.
Okay, because you took their picture, and they just want to know where the picture is.
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of the things in your trailer, there's a quote that starts it off. It says, "A bag of weed can get you arrested, $14 million worth can get you killed."
Yes.
So this, you know what, this is, I've not seen the whole film, I've just seen the clips from the trailer, and I'm not sensing big love story here.
No, not really. I was going to put a love interest in there for a split second, but I actually didn't have a girlfriend at the time, and then I just got one, but she didn't want to be on camera. We finished the whole film, and, there was too much stuff blowing up, and we didn't have time to put it in there.
That's what filmmakers do. We find ways to get our wives and girlfriends in there.
Yes. I tried.
Yeah, there you go. Well, no, this is a very ambitious project. Now, let's get straight your particular background. You just graduated high school, Lake Ridge Academy.
At Lake Ridge.
You are on your way to film school this fall in Australia. I can see that. There's no film schools in the United States. Why Australia, of all places?
I got to get as far away from home as possible, right? But what the idea is...
Go to Kentucky. It's not that. It's far enough,
kind of a back door into the industry type of thing. I figured there's less competition, and Bond University, the school I'm going to on the Gold Coast, which is actually nicknamed Surfer's Paradise, which is not bad. You can see the beach from my college window. It's rated one of the top 10 in the world for filmmaking, actually, by some rating agency, which wasn't bad. So I figured, hey, they got the resources. I'll be interning at Warner Brothers Studios my first year.
Wow.
And I'm going full-time, so I'll have a Bachelor of Arts in 2 years.
I did a lot of things to be impressed about. First of all, that beach location. And from my dorm room, I saw the dumpster. So good for you, seeing the ocean. And you have an internship set up with Warner Brothers Pictures. Now, is this after graduation?
Through their school, you have to do internships.
So you're set to go. Now, this Warner Brothers, the big one in California.
There's a studio right down the street from my college.
Okay, so they've got a branch in Australia,
Yes.
and there you're going to be.
At least that's what I believe.
Okay, you're going to hang out with the Australian Batman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where's Robin? Where's that Robin? So... Now, just to put everything into perspective, I mean, you were 16, 17 when you made this film. And as a filmmaker myself, I mean, I see the ambition that went into this film. First of all, let's talk about some of the things that your average 17-year-old cannot put into probably a no-budget film. I don't even want to say low-budget. It was a no-budget film.
It was not low-budget, no-budget. Zip.
Yes, and nowadays with technology, it's more possible to do this than it was 15 years ago, believe me.
Very true, very true.
So let's take a look at some of the things things you put in. First of all, back in my day, whenever there were cop cars, we would always have them off camera and have actors say, hey, look at all those cop cars coming toward us. We'd never see them. Now, you actually had them on camera.
Yes.
You had real cop cars, not one, not two, but a whole bunch, lights on, with cops coming out of it telling people to get on the ground. That's pretty impressive
Yeah,
for
we
a
had them draw
17-year-old.
their guns. They had to unload them first. We showed them unloading it for legal purposes.
Yeah,
and so we had them
okay.
draw their weapons, put our actors in handcuffs, and throw them into cop cars. And our actors gave them lip, and they slammed the doors in their face. It was pretty cool.
And these were real police officers.
Real sheriffs, yes.
You know, and it's funny, I can't remember if you told me that last time you were on or if I just sort of got that feeling, because there was just something real about these
They were
particular
pretty convincing,
guys.
I thought.
Get on the ground!
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
It's like they've said it before. How did you get real police officers into your film?
We kind of got a little connection. We went to the airport, and I actually talked to a drug enforcement agency officer. He was
Oh, sure. We all did that when we made films in high school. You don't call up the local drug enforcement officer. Hey, can we have some cops? No problem. How many do you need? I mean, it's like you're taking me back here.
He was actually an undercover agent. So I asked him if he wanted to be in the film, but he said, you know what, I can't show my face.
He's an undercover
He's
agent.
undercover. So he's
Right.
like, you know what, let me connect you to a guy that would help you out. And so before I knew it, I had 3 sheriff's cruisers coming in and throw my actors in handcuffs.
Good for you. And you also had airplane scenes in this.
Yes.
And we're not talking at an airport with an airplane in the background. You have that. But you also have actors in the cabin of the plane as the plane is actually taking off. How did you secure that?
Well, we got lucky. My dad he used to be one of the head guys at this small airport, and so we got to, kind of work in the hangars, and there's a plane docked before it took off. And 1 hour before the same plane took off, we did the scene, and then the plane took off, ironically, and we're like, wow, we can make it look like our actors are in it. And then I added an RPG rocket shooting at it on the runway, and so it took off just as an explosion went underneath the wheels.
And that, of course, can be done through digital effects
Yes.
nowadays.
We didn't actually shoot because that would, kind of screw with regulations a little bit.
Now, let's talk about one of the special effects shots that was in the trailer. You do have, in the same shot, you have a car blowing up and then actors in the shot being pushed as a result of the explosion.
Yes.
Now, I get the fact that you can superimpose a phony explosion through digital effects, but you had actors, clearly we saw their feet and we saw them fly up. Now, off camera, you can cheat this with like a platform. We've done that with vampire movies. But unless it just went by so fast I didn't catch it, how did you get the actors to fly on camera?
Me and my friend Mike Rose, what we did is we hurled ourselves onto concrete.
Okay.
We ran and just threw ourselves, pop, 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 pop. We had to do that 5 or 6 times so we got it right. And we ended up using the first take, naturally, but then we just added in this explosion behind the cars, put flames on my Mustang, and there you go.
Now, you also had a shot where I believe it was you, but definitely one of the actors jumped over a car.
Yes.
How did you create that effect?
All we really did was combined in 2 scenes. We just got a shot of the car zooming past the camera, kept the camera still, and then kept the car still. I ran, put a foot on the car, jumped over the car, and then I put the 2 together. It's kind of like cutting the scene in half, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, actually, in a weird sort of a way, it does.
Yeah.
You do cut into it in the middle of the jump, but still, it goes by so fast that
Can't really tell.
You don't really sit there and go, well, it clearly cut in when he was already in midair, so I'm just not buying this shot at all. So, very well done. Again, very ambitious for the first time out. We are talking to Matt Zaleski, by the way, a recent high school graduate on his way to film school. Just put together a really nice film. It's called Red Battle, and it's an action film with some real action sequences in it. You are going to have a debut for this film coming up Friday.
Yes, we're trying to premiere it after about 7 years. I've been having this project in the back of my mind. So that was when I was like 11 or 12, and I was sitting in a treehouse with a little webcam. I'm going to make a little film. I'm going to call it, I don't know, Red Battle. Then, I don't know, 7 years later, I was 19 years old, and it came into a feature 2-hour-and-a-half film. And now I'm going to premiere it this Friday at 8 p.m. at the Lorain County Community College. Hopefully the Sheriff's Department will actually be there.
Oh, that'd be great.
That should be pretty awesome.
That'd be great. That's the difference between your generation and mine. I sat in tree houses, but I had a National Geographic magazine. You had a webcam, so,
Yeah, technology goes up.
There is this shot I've got to talk about. At the very tail end of the trailer, you have, and I believe this is your character, this is you. You are standing in the road, and you are at your wit's end. You're exhausted, you're beaten. This seems seems like it's well into the film after, you've been shot at and drug lords are after you and everything, and you're just one step away from a total collapse. And in this shot comes a deer, and you have eye contact momentarily with this deer. Number one, did you plan that, or did you just happen to get a deer?
We get that question a lot. A deer walked perfectly across the road, and I said, Tomas, walk. Just walk. And we often joke around and say, that's actually me in a deer costume. If you zoom in, you can see the antlers on my head. But no, we just got really, really lucky. All day, deers were kind of, jutting into the woods. I'm like, oh, maybe we can get a shot of it. Nah. And then just walk absolutely picture perfect across the road.
You didn't have a deer wrangler.
No,
cue
we
the
wish.
Deer. Yeah.
We like to say it was skill.
What that shot says to me, and if this is what you wanted to portray, it was extremely effective. The fact that here we have this human being who's at his wit's end. Here he gets this momentary eye contact with this deer. They live on the same planet, and this deer is just in a totally different world. And wouldn't it be nice to be that deer right now?
Yeah,
because
not getting shot at.
That deer is not going through my experience.
Yeah,
that deer is clueless. Is that what you wanted to get? Because that's what that moment said.
It was this piece, the contrast with the war and everything like that. And actually, the other character's friend, his best friend, just died, and that was symbolic. As we're taking our separate ways down the road, that character that walked away with me was going down two opposite ends of this road, and he was trying to kill me throughout the entire film, and then he helps me at the end because his character turns around and stops doing these drugs and selling things, and because he saved my life, and he just turns around to be actually a good guy.
And did you write this film? Okay, did you write it with the locations in mind, like airport? Okay, my dad knows people at the airport. Or did you just write it to write it and then worry about how to get the locations and the actors later?
Actually, I kind of wrote an outline. This would be kind of cool like this. And the movie changed 85% of everything I wrote. Because given that I didn't have the actors, I didn't have the locations, and basically, for the most part, I played it by ear. Mm-hmm. And just kind of made up stuff as I went along, and when I first put it together, I was so happy that the movie made sense, and it flowed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's some filmmakers, they got to stick to the script. They got to have the map. You're able to kind of improvise as things go on. Whatever works certainly goes. And this is what you want to do.
Yes,
this is it. Where do you want to be 10, 20 years from now?
10, 20 years from now, I want to be a director, writer, and hopefully, like Clint Eastwood, act in my own films, which would be pretty cool.
Sure. And you've got the internship set up in Warner Brothers, and any idea of what they're going to make you do?
I have no idea. I'll probably end up, for the first couple times run around giving guys coffee, but hey, it's what you got to do.
Oh, by the way, if it's not Van Roy coffee, which is the official coffee of the Les in the Morning Show, make sure we import it to you.
I like the coffee this morning, actually, Les.
It was Van Roy coffee. There you go, the official coffee. Well, listen, there's real quick, just a quick word about the actors before we let you go here. Because not all of these were real people doing what they really do on camera. You had some actors. Who are some of them?
Some of them were Preston Postal. He was a drama teacher from the Avon Lake High School. Hey, I brought him into the project. The first film session he showed up to, everything was going smooth to the last shot. He had to pretend to pistol whip one of my actors in the back of the head, pretending. And we did it over and over. Couldn't get it to look just right. Then somehow he accidentally pistol whipped him in the back of the head. The guy fell out of the chair, had to get stitches and everything like that. Thank God it was the last shot of the day. But God bless his heart. He stayed with the project to the end. And the next scene, I actually had to be interrogated into a chair, which was ironic. I'm like, oh, geez, hope he doesn't drill this hammer into my hand. But Tomas Temesis, he's from Avon Lake High School. He's now currently going to LC College, which helped set up the premiere. He played the guy who's struggling back and forth, trying to be a good guy or a bad guy. He's not really sure. Andrew Kothe, who was a friend of mine throughout high school. He played one of the bad druggy kids. Michael Rose was one of the main bad druggy kids who was stealing all these $14 million worth of drugs without knowing it, which was pretty cool. And some people locally, Steve Perry, who was a singer in the film.
Not the singer Steve Perry from Journey.
Not from
this is
Journey.
A different Steve Perry singer.
Well, I met him once or twice now.
Sure.
The Naked Monkeys band actually performed some of my music, which was pretty cool. They have a live band, and they now I do their promo videos,
Okay.
which was pretty neat.
Excellent. Now we did mention that you graduated from Lake Ridge Academy. What actual city do you live in?
Vermilion.
Vermilion. Well,
We filmed everywhere from Cleveland all the way out to Catawba Island and everywhere in between.
wonderful, and all for no budget. It's an amazing achievement. It's your premiere for this movie, Red Battle, is going to be this Friday, the 21st, at Lorain County Community College in the Spitzer Center, or where?
Stocker Center.
Oh, in the Stocker
I
Center.
think we
Okay.
got a big theater with stadium seating, I believe, and I'm going to bring these giant speakers. It should be pretty powerful.
Okay.
I love for anyone and everyone to come. It's absolutely free at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I mean,
8
again,
p.m.
just for the fact we got a local filmmaker putting together a nice film, give us your website or any place we can learn more about you.
What I would suggest doing is just Google official Red Battle trailer, and it should be the first thing that comes up.
Official Red Battle trailer.
Yes,
That
to
makes sense.
get an idea of how good this thing actually looks. I think it looks fairly professional for a budget of nothing for my first big film.
Absolutely, no question there. Matt Zaleski, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Best of luck.